The 14-year-old tried as an adult. Then forgotten. In the heart of Baltimore in 1996, a 14-year-old boy named Jamal Peterson was arrested for a crime that shocked the community, the fatal shooting of a local store clerk during what authorities claimed was an attempted robbery. The crime happened late at night, and witnesses gave conflicting accounts. Yet within 48 hours, police had a suspect, a skinny, scared 8th grader with no prior record and no legal guardian present during interrogation. Jamal was sitting in a cramped, dimly lit room at the police station. No lawyer. No mother. No one on his side. The detectives told him what they believed happened and pressured him to agree. They said there was video, there wasn't. They said his fingerprints were on the weapon, they weren't. But Jamal was 14. He didn't understand the consequences of his words. He just wanted to go home. After hours of questioning, exhaustion and fear cracked him. He gave a vague, confused statement, not a confession, but enough for the police to write one for him. That fabricated confession became the cornerstone of a case that would tear his childhood away. Despite his age, the prosecutor decided to charge Jamal as an adult. It wasn't about justice. It was politics. The city was facing pressure to be tough on crime. Jamal was just another name to add to the headlines. A symbol, not a person. The courtroom didn't see a child. They saw a black teenager in handcuffs, in an oversized suit. They didn't hear about the honor roll student who helped his little sister with homework. They didn't care that the only evidence was a coerced statement. The jury barely took a day. Guilty. First-degree murder. Life. At 14, Jamal was sentenced to life in adult prison. He was transferred to a maximum security facility, surrounded by men 3 times his age. He spent his first night there crying quietly in his bunk, terrified. But no one noticed. No one cared. He became inmate number 002847. Years passed. The world moved on. Jamal missed high school, graduations, funerals, birthdays. He was denied visitation repeatedly because his mother didn't have a car or money for transport. His letters home were often returned unopened, not because his family stopped loving him, but because the system didn't make it easy. In prison, Jamal read everything he could get his hands on. Law books. History books. Even psychology. He became obsessed with one question: how could they do this to me? At 21, he filed his first appeal, denied. At 25, he met a prison mentor who introduced him to a non-profit that connected inmates with law students. One of those students, Maya Evans, read Jamal's file and something didn't sit right. She dug into the case. What she found was chilling. There was no physical evidence linking Jamal to the crime. The witness statements had been inconsistent, and some were recanted later. The security footage from the store was never reviewed in court. And the so-called confession? It was written by a detective with a known history of coercing minors. That same detective had been sued years earlier for misconduct. Maya brought the findings to her supervising attorney. They filed a motion for post-conviction relief. The wheels turned slowly. The state fought back. But the pressure from media attention grew. Maya shared the case with a journalist who published an in-depth exposé. Public support swelled. People were stunned to learn a child had been locked away for life based on almost nothing. After months of legal back and forth, the judge ordered a new hearing. Jamal appeared in court, now a grown man in his 30s. The courtroom was silent as Maya laid out every flaw, every lie, every injustice. And then, silence. The judge took weeks. When the ruling came, it was brief but life-altering. Conviction overturned. Jamal collapsed in his chair, shaking. He had spent 19 years behind bars, almost 5 years longer than he had lived before his arrest. He walked out of prison with nothing but a small box of books and a pair of oversized clothes. Outside the gate stood Maya, holding back tears. They didn't speak. They just hugged. But freedom wasn't simple. Jamal had never used a cell phone. He had never paid a bill. He didn't know how to get a driver's license or apply for a job. The world had changed, and he had to learn everything from scratch. He struggled with anxiety. The sound of keys clinking reminded him of cell doors. Loud voices made him flinch. He found it hard to trust anyone. Still, he tried. He got a job at a local bookstore. He took night classes. He spoke at high schools, telling kids to know their rights. He began working with the same non-profit that helped free him, becoming an advocate for juvenile justice reform. He refused to be angry. "Anger's heavy," he told one interviewer. "I don't want to carry it anymore." His story became national news. Lawmakers used it to push for changes to how minors are treated in the justice system. A bill, later named Jamal's Law, passed, banning life sentences for juveniles in that state. But the damage was done. No amount of reform could give Jamal back his childhood, his family, or the life he should have had. He missed everything: the first dance, the graduation, the smell of his mom's cooking on holidays. He was 14 when the system forgot him. When the courtroom stopped seeing a boy and started seeing a threat. Now, he's trying to make sure no one else is forgotten. Because justice isn't just about punishment. It's about fairness. About recognizing the difference between a scared child and a hardened criminal. And maybe, just maybe, it's about redemption. But for Jamal, it's also about never letting the world forget what happened when a 14-year-old boy was treated like he didn't matter. Because he did. He still does.